Right. Good morning, students. Having completed the secondary sources of collecting the data, let's look into certain precautions involved in using this data. Now, why precautions are required? You know the reason, students. It is not the first hand data, it is already collected. We are using it because we can make use of it by avoiding certain costly factors such as time involved or the money involved in it. But it comes up with a price, and therefore we have to be careful with regard to it. Precautions to be taken into account. Number one, the most important one, the reliability. Now, how much we can depend upon it, that depends upon the secondary data and the understanding of the person who is using it. If you remember, students, in the month of April and May, in fact, there was a lot of rumors going around that this coronavirus as such is not going to be that much effective in India because the heat will kill it, right? But and the many of the doctors, right, some of them did support that theory, but there were many of them who said that such data which has come across that it might be useful has to be taken with a pinch of salt. Why so? Because there is yet to be proven fact that heat and humidity can reduce the impact of coronavirus. So the point comes here, unless and until a person is sure about it, its reliability cannot be taken for granted, and that is one precaution which you need to be careful about whenever secondary data is to be used. Comes the next one, suitability. As a teacher, I can use certain data which is published at national level by the government comparing the development structure of India with its neighbor China. Right? Now, it's for anyone to understand that China has much better development index than India, right? So, as far as teacher's job is concerned, my job is concerned, my main role is to make sure that India is comparatively weaker in certain segments with when compared with China, and therefore there is scope for improvement, right? How much it is accurate or not, that is something that depends upon the requirement of the investigation. My job as a teacher is to make students aware that we have a lot of groundwork to be done to catch up with China with regard to a lot of issues, be it education, be it life expectancy, and that's where secondary data can be used depending upon the suitability. I'm not trying to be accurate about it, but because it suits my requirement, therefore I can use that secondary data to communicate the information. Am I clear? So suitability also has to be taken into account. Last one, adequacy. Now, when I talk about adequacy, we have to first check it that secondary data is coming from census method or from sampling method. If it comes from census method, chances are it's very much probable that secondary data can be relied upon. But if it comes from sampling, remember there is a lot of bias involved in sampling at times. And if the bias is involved, and we are not the first hand collector of the information, in fact, we are the second hand ones. So, if the bias is involved in the primary data collection and then we use it in order to put forward the information, naturally, it will definitely be not that much trustworthy. So, adequacy of the data of the sample which we are taking has to be taken into account. The bigger the size of the sample, if it is census, then probability is that chances of uh, raising fingers will be less. But in sampling, the bigger data can solve this issue. So, precautions to be taken. First is reliability, the most important one, followed by suitability, and then the adequacy. Thank you.